All right. Um, our presentation was on the University of Iowa campus Rec and Wellness Center. I'm Caden.
And I'm Nate.
So to start going over the ownership and management of the CWRC, the CWRC is owned by the University of Iowa. It is a $69.2 million complex built on the campus of University of Iowa. It is owned by the school and the university. There are a lot of student managers that work at the CWRC, and it could be considered some of the main managers of the facility as well. Some of the primary and secondary activities that the CWRC is known for. The primary activity is to host swimming and diving competitions at the University of Iowa. The venue has hosted the Big Ten Championships for swimming and diving in the past years, as well as some USA diving nationals. Some secondary activities that can be found there could be recreational swimming for the public and other aquatic activities as well.
And then a little bit of the overview of revenue. So, like Caden said, the CRWC was a $69.2 million complex that opened in 2010. And the University of Iowa's estimated annual revenue is currently around 5.3 billion per year. But that number keeps growing due to inflation. Then some of the primary streams are membership walk-ins and then daily walk-ins. So there's different membership fees for if you're a student, if you're alumni, faculty, or if you're just wanting to use the rec center um, and you're in town. And then some of the secondary streams would be partnerships that the CRWC have. So they have partnerships with a lot of other facilities and athletic departments on campus. And then another secondary stream is the Power Cafe that they have. The Power Cafe is just on the first floor as soon as you walk in, where members can buy like smoothies and food and fruit and stuff like that. And then some recent news slash renovations. They recently renovated the rock wall. So originally it was at 50 feet. But then there was another school in Iowa that made theirs 52 feet. So the university remodeled the rock wall to make it 52 and a half feet. You can kind of see in this picture here the remodel. Um, they kind of, the glass slanted up there. They kind of had to remodel it that way. They're currently working on some locker room replacement. So if you go there right now, you'll see that you can't use the men's and women's locker room. And then they might add some pickleball courts or potentially add some pickleball courts. Outside the CRWC, there's a field that they have that is not used, and there's nothing built there yet, but it is owned by the CRWC. So they're talking about maybe a pickleball court or tennis or some sort of outdoor activity that they can build there. And then they're also part of a 10-year master plan that started in January 2022. Um, this master plan is also a part of the four other facilities on campus. So the Fieldhouse, CRWC, Gym East, and the HTRC. But there's no specific large scale renovations that are going on. It's kind of just a lot of minor renovations. And then the first comparison we did was the University of Northern Iowa. So University of Northern Iowa's ownership is the University of Northern Iowa. So it's very similar to Iowa where the university owns their student recreation center. For the aquatic center, U Iowa's is 50-meter and 18 feet deep diving well versus UNI's there's 25. They have a 25-meter, 13 feet deep diving well. So there's a big difference there. The climbing walls, U Iowa is definitely the biggest, as it's the biggest in Iowa at 52 and a half feet, and then UNI is 38 and a half feet. And then some fitness areas that they have free weights, classrooms, dance and exercises size rooms. That's also very similar to the University of Iowa in that way.
Second comparison that we did was the University of Iowa State. The Iowa State Rec Center has also a big rock wall that people can use, which is smaller than the one that can be found at the CWRC. Like Nate said, the one at the University of Iowa is the largest in the state. The Iowa State Rec Center also has an esports area, which is something that not only rec centers, but just sports facilities all around are starting to include more of nowadays. We're seeing it in high schools a lot. So that's something that the Iowa State Rec Center has. The Iowa State Rec Center, just like the University of Iowa, also hosts swimming and diving competitions and has a large aquatic area, just like the CWRC. The rec center is free to anyone at Iowa State and can be used by the public. And then the indoor track at the University of Iowa State's rec center is also very large. And here are our sources.